Hey, what's good, everybody? Once again, I got the opportunity, or we got the opportunity, to sit down with an incredibly gifted, Emmy Award winning actor, producer, author, motivational speaker.
Yes.
Boy, listen, I can run out of breath about all the things that this man has done.
Yes. Look,
Stop, stop.
most of you guys grew up with him watching Karate Kid 3, Bold and the Beautiful, General Hospital, Young and the Restless, and Cobra Kai. And we have the iconic Sean Cannon.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really nice to be here with you guys.
Is
Yes,
it
we appreciate
is it
you being here.
canon? Hey,
It's
Right.
hey,
We
it's
were
hold on.
it's
we were trying to figure that out. How do you
Is it
it's
pronounce
it's
canon
it?
or is it Kanan?
Kanan. No, it's Kanan.
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 Okay. All right.
So Sean, start us off from the beginning. I mean, everybody at some point, first let us know where you originally born and raised, and how long you actually been in the
Yeah,
business that you're in.
I was born in Cleveland, but I left when I was 5. I
Okay.
grew up in Western Pennsylvania, about 45 minutes outside of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Um, in a town of about probably 25,000 people. But then if you drove about 5 miles out, you had the Amish people. So it would be completely normal to see these guys tooling around in their carts and buggies and everything. And I remember the first time I brought my wife to Newcastle, I said, okay, you might see some Amish people, and they live like it's in the 1800s. Sure enough, we see an Amish guy get out of his horse and buggy with a cell phone. So, you know. Um, uh, I went to Boston University for 2 years, and I knew that I wanted to start acting at that point. And so, I had to decide whether I was going to go to New York or Los Angeles, and I figured it was easier to be broke where it was warm. So I moved out to Los Angeles, and I finished my political science degree at UCLA. That was in 1987, and by 1988, I'd gotten the role in Karate Kid 3, and after that, things, I'm not going to say that I didn't still struggle, but at least, I had done something where people knew who I was. So that was really the start of my career.
Oh, okay. So I would have thought that you started your soap opera career before your
Mhm.
movie role.
Now, I did it
Wow.
backwards. No, I did it kind
Okay.
of
Oh,
backwards.
wow. Okay.
So,
Interesting.
I did this big film, and then I wound up doing a series for Francis Ford Coppola called The Outsiders, which was based on S.E. Hinton's book, The Outsiders. And of course, everyone knows the feature film with Tom Cruise and Emilio Estevez and Rob Lowe and Patrick Swayze, and which was amazing for me because I grew up reading those books.
Okay.
And then I did something for Oliver Stone, and then a funny thing happened. The phone stopped ringing, and I was like, "What is going on?" And I realized that I was getting hired because I was young, and I was a good-looking young guy, and I had a certain charisma, but I hadn't really. I just started studying acting, and I made a very conscious decision. I was like, look, if I'm going to be a serious actor and have a career that is, something I can be proud of, I have got to, make my bones. I gotta earn it. And so I decided to do a play. And, theater is one of the best ways that an actor can really improve their skill set,
Okay.
for a number of reasons. And Steve Burton from General Hospital, he and I are cousins by marriage, and we're good friends, hung out a lot. He said, "Listen, they're looking for a guy to play my brother." I mean, people used to talk about how much we looked alike all the time.
Mm.
Back in the days when I was wild, I used to go to bars and clubs, and I'd raise hell. And then Steve would walk in, and they go, "We told you, get the hell out of here." And he's like, "Oh no, it's Kanan." Kanan was in there. It was great. So anyway, Steve was really instrumental in setting up my audition for AJ. And I was like the only guy auditioning. So I was like, if I don't get this part, it's because I suck. But I did
Right.
get the part. And so suddenly I'm on General Hospital, this show that's got 30, 40 years of history. And I didn't intend on doing daytime. I was really trying to continue on with films, and I'd done a couple more films after the Karate Kid 3. And then it just so happened that I got on daytime, and that kind of you know took my career in a different direction.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's
So
Yeah.
I'm curious. So working on, let's say, soap operas, right?
Hmm.
Is that harder? Is it because sometimes when we see you on TV but it seems like in the soap operas that do you got to do those parts of those lines over and over again? Do you get it
Yeah,
right?
see, that's you hit the nail on the head. Here's
Okay,
what's so every medium has got its own challenges. Okay,
right,
okay.
so
right.
with soap operas, you're doing a voluminous amount of dialogue every day. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when you do a feature film, you might shoot 7 to 10 pages a day, which is a
Right,
luxury. When you do a
right.
soap opera, I mean, I have between 20 and 35 pages a day,
Wow.
and it's a lot. But I've been doing it a long time, and I'm good at memorization, and learning lines. But you have to make choices very quickly. You're saying dialogue again and again, and the challenge is to find interesting ways of saying it that's fresh and new. But that's the job. You know what I mean? You
Okay.
can bitch about it, but it doesn't do any good. You need to be able to do that and work within the parameters of what the challenges are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Theater. Here's a challenge with theater is once that curtain goes up, no one's yelling cut. What you do is what you do. And
Yeah.
it's great because it's like leaping into a net. I do stand-up comedy. You're up there with your words and a microphone, sink or swim. Some of the
Right.
best training in the world. Films are great, but there's a lot of waiting around because they have to light the scenes. And lighting a
Mm-hmm.
scene could take several hours. In soap operas, and in a lot of TV, they have computerized grids of lighting right above you. So when you walk out, it's already lit. You know what I mean? Which is what
Right.
allows you to move very quickly.
Right.
So, for me, there's different things that I like about different mediums. They each have their own challenges. Um, and I've been blessed that I've done all of them, which I think has made me a more well-rounded actor.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So have you done any like Broadway and stuff too, like or stage play?
No, and that is something that is an absolute dream of mine. I would love to do Broadway someday. I
Yeah.
really would. I love doing theater.
Right. So theater is actually pretty, like you said, is a lot harder than what a lot of people recognize it to be.
Yeah,
So
theater's
because I
tough.
know at times when, so I've done a little bit of directing in my life, and one of my buddies is a producer, is a theater. He does poetry and he does theater and different
Yeah,
things. And one time, I happened to be on set, and next thing I know, he's like, "Hey, you're stage managing today, and you're going to
right,
make sure that everybody." And I'm like, "Wait a minute, whoa, whoa, whoa,"
right.
But
Yeah,
I kind of find that it's pretty challenging, especially when the show is actually happening,
yeah. I'll,
and
I'll tell you. I'll tell you a funny story. So I was doing True West with Tristan Rogers was in it,
Okay.
and an actor named David Steen, who David was in Django Unchained. He was the guy with all the dogs, Mr. Stone Cipher. So we're
mm-hmm.
doing this. We're doing this play. Great play. Sam Shepard. And there's a scene where one of the characters has gone out and he steals a television set. So the
Mm.
lights are down, and I see the other actor with the television set, which immediately tells me he thinks it's the wrong scene. And if those lights come up and he's standing on that stage with it's an irrecoverable spin. You know what I
Right,
mean? It's like I don't know how
Yeah.
mentally I would edit that to and I'm like, get the off the stage,
right,
it's the wrong scene. And I'm just praying that the guy with the lights sees me and doesn't turn the lights on, which he didn't. And we were able,
right.
but I mean, it's like anything can happen, man.
Yeah.
It's
Anything,
like
right,
I would happen to think that theater is more harder because I've done stage plays before. You got to make sure you're not projecting. You got to make sure that your back isn't turned.
yes. There's lots
Sounding,
of
all of that stuff is
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There's lots of different different challenges and different things that you have to do. When you're doing theater, you tend to be a little bit bigger because people have to be able to see your gestures and everything in the back row. Um, when you're on a 30-foot film screen, there's a reason why they say um, a leading man, a star, knows and doesn't show. You can be
Mm.
very small because you're up on that big screen, and if you're making faces and going like this, you're gonna look like a maniac. You know what I mean?
right, right.
Um,
Yep.
and television is another medium, and now we've got verticals. I mean, it's like the game's changing constantly,
Yep.
and acting is acting, you know,
Hmm.
but you also have to take into consideration the medium and recalibrate for what the medium is.
Right.
Okay, okay. So let's take it back a little bit to the acting with Karate Kid 3.
Hmm.
Um, I know you studied in martial arts, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like professionalism and that. Like, tell us a little bit more about that and how long did you study in martial arts? Did you have to study for martial arts to actually get that role too as well?
Well, I had been studying for several years before I got that role, but if I hadn't had been already studying martial arts, I don't think I would have gotten it because you know, I was I was I was decent at what I could do, but I had my limitations. And so Pat Johnson, who was the stunt coordinator, kind of looked at what I could do and said, "Okay, well, this is what we're gonna tailor the martial arts so that you play to your strengths, right?"
Right. Right.
And I don't know how they would have made somebody that had never done martial arts look like he was a national champion.
Right.
You know,
Right.
um, so fortunately my basics were strong enough that they were able to do that.
Okay.
I've continued to study martial arts off and on throughout my life. There've been times I've studied, there've been times I haven't. I was training extensively in preparation for Cobra Kai.
Okay.
um, and I took some time off because I had some shoulder surgery, which is now healed, and I'm going to be starting back again training next month.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
just
Nice.
like you said, like because you knew martial arts, I believe that it became really natural for you and it made you look natural in the role that you were playing. You know what
Yeah,
I
I think
mean?
so for
So,
sure.
right, so a lot of the stunts, right? Were you
Hmm.
doing some of the stunts
I did
yourself?
all my I did all my stunts.
Okay.
I did all my
Oh,
Okay.
stunts, and as a matter of fact, my earbuds might go out because it just said 1%. So if it does, just give me a second to fix it.
okay.
So, I had I had a life-threatening injury while I was doing the film. I had been training. We just started filming, and I did a stunt that was a stupid stunt. Had nothing to really do with martial arts. I had to kind of jump and land on my side, and
Oh,
I,
yeah.
s- I sprung a leak inside, and I was having all
Mm,
this pain in my left thigh, which I thought was from all the martial arts. So I started taking aspirin, which is a blood thinner. I
Mm-hmm.
had internal bleeding, and the aspirin was exacerbating the bleeding. So Christmas Day, 1988, I passed out in Las Vegas, and
mm.
they told me they didn't know if they could save my life, and had emergency surgery, and woke up with a 15-inch incision on my wound on my abdomen. Got the
Wow.
call from John Avildsen, and he was like, "Get back to work in 2 weeks, or you're fired." And I
Wow.
Mm.
had to,
Look
I
at
had
God,
to, yeah, I had to fight
man.
my way, fight my way back into the world, and then fight my way back into the film. And I wound up doing all my own stunts in the film, and it was a really extraordinary and amazing life experience that I wouldn't wish on anybody else, but
Mm-hmm.
it was very cathartic and changing for me.
Well, it
So
also showed your resilience. Like
Hmm.
yeah,
you were not going to be
I was
denied.
I mean I had won the golden ticket. I mean,
Right.
I got this film from an open call. I
Mm-hmm.
knew it was not only going to be a career changing role, but a life changing role.
Right.
And I was like, I said, I will die before I don't finish this film. And that's just sort of look, dramatic, but I'm an actor, right? Give me a break.
Right.
And I was 22 years old, 21 years old, and I just I didn't know better, and probably that's a
Right.
good thing that I didn't. Yeah.
Right. You're not even old enough to be scared. Like you're not even old enough to know
No.
to be scared. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
age, I'm sure you thought you were pretty invincible,
That
you know.
that's so perceptive that you said that, because at that age you think you're invincible, and then when they told me they didn't know if they could save my life, I mean, shit got very real very quick.
Right.
And I mean, I don't gotta say that, I'm
Right.
sorry.
No,
And
no, you're good.
no,
No,
You
you're
but
good.
say
but
everything
but
on
like
media
but
day.
but like to date, it still ranks as the most terrifying thing that's ever happened to me in my life, because
Mm-hmm.
you have to put your life in the hands of a stranger
Mm,
and completely relinquish. There's no power. There's nothing you can do. I
Right.
mean, they put the anesthesiologist put the mask on me, and I was out, and it was like, please God, let this surgeon's hands, you know, do your work. And thank God that it worked.
Well,
I'm
and
glad you did
absolutely,
because you wouldn't have been able to be on none of the soap
It
operas.
it
My
it, be,
mom
it beats the alternative, right?
absolutely,
yes,
and it also, and I'm sure it also changed at that moment, changed your thought perception, the way that you now start thinking about things and in life in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because you just
absolutely.
had
Well,
this near death experience.
I mean, now when things get tough, I sort of look at myself in the mirror and go, "Is it as tough as somebody telling you that they don't know if they can save your life?" I said, buck up, Buttercup, and
Right.
do what you got to do. You know what I mean? So that's what I
Absolutely.
mean. I mean, I wouldn't wish that experience on anybody, but what it
Right.
taught me about myself was pretty extraordinary. I'm going to take these off because these are going to die. Hang on a
Okay.
second.
okay,
Yeah.
See here.
Yeah.
Boom.
yes, it's
Can
interesting.
you guys hear me now? We good?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay, cool.
you sound great.
Um, yeah. So that was a pretty intense experience to have at a young age.
Yeah. I imagine. I imagine so. But it also kind of made you the person that you are. And as you was moving along in your career, you can always look back to that experience,
Right.
and you know, y'all got to come better than that to make me want to pack my bags up and leave. You know what I'm
You know,
saying?
Right.
I think the other thing is like I'm a big proponent of the concept of story and how stories play a role in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have attached the story that Hollywood is just a place, a machine that runs on greed, and your only value is what you can bring to the machine. And instead, I attached the story that, when the chips were down and my back was against the wall, I was able to dig deep and find out something about my life. And so now the story that I've attached based on that experience is one that's motivating and powerful, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to, bitter and resentful,
Yes.
because there's this great story. You might have heard it, and I love to repeat it because it's had a profound effect on me. There was a woman. She was a journalist, and she was writing an article about Skid Row in Los Angeles, and she's talking to this guy that we would all basically say was an alcoholic bum,
Okay.
and he was in his 50s. And she said, "How is it that you wound up at this place in your life?" And he said, "Well, my father drank a pint of whiskey every day. He beat my mother. He beat my twin brother. He beat me. Couldn't keep a job and couldn't stay out of jail. How else would I have grown up?" She thought about that. And she was so intrigued, she decided to find his twin brother. And she found him. And she showed up at the house and was like, "This can't be right. It's this big, beautiful, gorgeous house." She knocks on the door. This very put together, middle aged man who just vaguely resembled his twin brother answered. And he invited her in and said, "Listen, let me introduce you to my loving wife and family. I've been married for 30 years, and I've been a doctor in this community." She said, "How is it that you built this amazing life?" And he said, "Well, I had a father that drank a pint of whiskey every day, beat my mother, beat my twin brother, beat me, couldn't keep a job, couldn't stay out of jail." Two people, identical circumstances, different stories, completely changed the trajectory of their life. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, we have too many people in the world now that are too comfortable being victims. I'm
Right.
not saying I'm not saying that like people don't get bad beats along the way and
Right.
something bad happens, but like we
Right.
all get dealt cards, and
Absolutely.
we get some good ones, and we get some not so good ones. It's like I always say, let me tell you about a woman. The card she got dealt was she was born into abject poverty. She
Mm-hmm.
was, sexually assaulted by family members. She wanted to be in television, but wasn't exactly what you would call ready for prime time. And
Mm-hmm.
she could have, looked up at the heavens and said, "Why, Lord, why? This is unfair." And instead, she went out and built a multi-billion-dollar media company. You get a
Mm,
car, you get a car, you get a car, right? Oprah. So,
Absolutely.
see.
you know, and now
Yeah.
she's an inspiration.
Absolutely. And it's what you make of it. Like I agree with you 100%, Sean, because you know when you come up a certain way and you kind of look around, and there's always going to be some things that
Always.
happen to you that that you could choose a route, you could choose a road, you can choose not to go down this road to be successful,
Yeah.
or you can use what's happened to you and just be pitiful, and
Absolutely.
it's your choice. And that's one of the things that I also tell people and teach people, and
And I think
you know
I think not to get off on like a tangent here, but
No, it's all right.
I think it like also relates to division and race and things like that. And by that, what I mean is, look, we can all find things that are, you know, different and not great if we want to look for them. But like, I don't think most people are like monolithically one thing or the other, and I don't think any one group of people is monolithically like one thing or the other. Most of us, I think, are good people, but we have nano shades of gray. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Good
Mm-hmm.
people sometimes do bad things. Bad people sometimes do good things. And
Yeah.
it's like if you don't look at people as one block of generalization and go, well, that person fits that group, therefore this is how they think. And you assign it because you've attached a story to it. You know, I take people one on one, you know? And the only thing I found out is I don't like assholes. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? And they come in all flavors and colors and sizes. You know what I mean? You know?
No, no,
Yes,
I get it.
yes, he hit the nail right on it.
Yeah, you absolutely. I agree with that 100%, Sean.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you definitely got to pick and choose. And I too don't like assholes. And the way that I conduct, and then the reason why it's so funny to me because that's one of the ways that I conduct myself every day.
Right.
You know,
And you know, it's like if you
and
take time and sit down and break bread with somebody, I mean, with few exceptions, you can find some common ground with most people.
Oh,
You know, you
absolutely,
can,
absolutely.
especially like in politics, you can absolutely disagree vehemently with somebody's political stance, but you don't have to eviscerate the essence of who they are as a person. You
right,
know, like
right,
you can agree to disagree, and you
absolutely,
can still find commonalities. But it's when we look at each other like, if you don't believe the way that I believe on this one issue, then you must be a horrible person.
right,
And
right,
one of the things that I've learned is, you know, you don't know how somebody else came up and what formed
That part.
their mental process. And before you chastise someone for who they are, you know, walk a mile in their shoes, you
mm-hmm,
know?
right. And that's why a lot of times, you know, don't make assumptions. Like a lot of people make assumptions when they walk into the room. They see how you dress, they see how
Oh
you talk,
yeah.
they
That
pitch in your
part.
voice.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They pitch in your voice,
Yeah.
and automatically they take you and they put you in this box.
Man.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And now you're put in this box,
Yep.
and you know, depending on the person and who you are, you got to be able to read a room really quickly.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
to be able to read those around you pretty quickly to understand whether or not that this person did he just put me in this box. You know?
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen, the stuff that I've been through
Sure.
that I would even
Sure.
tell people like, and
I'm
they'll look at
sure.
me like, "Oh, you don't look like you've been through that," but you know,
Right.
It happens.
it's you,
Yeah,
it's within, it's what you're gonna do, and to be able to break that cycle, and not
Yeah.
always blame your parents and say, you know, and
That's the other thing. You know, and I say this in
yeah,
my books. I say, look, if you're 25 years old and you're still thinking that it's your mommy's fault who didn't hug you enough, or your daddy's fault who used to call you out in front of his friends, then you need to put your big boy pants on and get out of your parents' basement and start living your life and stop blaming people.
absolutely,
Period. Period.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, nobody's making you a victim but yourself. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And if you
yeah,
Yeah.
choose to be a victim, then you're going to be a victim. Then there's always going to be a reason why you couldn't. You know what
And
I'm
you know,
saying?
there's a lot of people that support other people being victims. You know, it's like, you know, that's why they say misery loves company. You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's get back to Cobra Kai.
yeah.
How
Yes,
did that
sir.
come about? What was that about? How was that
Do
experience?
you recognize what's behind me?
Yeah.
That's the gi from season 6. I
Okay.
was like, I'm getting that. um, well, I mean, look, you know, they the producers knew that I wanted to be a part of it, and um, you know, we were in contact during I think season 4, and they were like, yeah, it's not going to happen this season. And I was like, it's getting a little late in the game here. We're in the 4th quarter, and so
Mm-hmm.
for season 5, they called me up, and they were like, hey, listen, we got this idea for Mike Barnes, and they pitched it to me, and I got to be honest, I didn't really understand it. Mike Barnes is going to be a furniture salesman. I was like, look, you guys created you know, a massive juggernaut hit. Who am I to tell you how to write your show? You tell me
Right.
what to do and where to be, and I'll say the lines. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, the only thing is I want 2 things if you can consider this. I said, one, I want there to be humor. I said, because, you know, the core of the show has got a lot of humor. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
also, I want to see some evolution in the character. I'm not interested in just playing the same thug that he was when he was 17.
Right.
Either people get worse or they get better, but they don't
Right.
really remain the same. And, it went really well in season 5. And I think the fans really liked it. And that's part of the reason why they brought me back in season 6. And it was an amazing experience. It was wonderful to reconnect with Ralph as an adult, as a guy that's a father, not as this 20-year-old brash kid that I was. I'd
Right.
never worked with Billy Zabka, but I've known him since 1988, and I've
Okay.
always wanted to work with Billy. And you know, in the Karate Kid universe, Chosen and Mike Barnes would never they would never cross paths, but only in
Right.
Cobra Kai were these two characters able to, and we had this great chemistry, this
Yeah.
really fun chemistry between Chosen and Mike Barnes. And wow, it was just fun, man, to dust off the proverbial black sleeveless gi and jump into the Cobra Kai role again. It was a lot of
And
fun.
not be a total bad guy. Be
Yeah,
like it's
well, it's back to what I say, man. It's about
yes.
nano shades of gray. Like I didn't
Yes.
see Mike Barnes as a bad guy. I think
Mm-hmm.
I looked at it like in season 6, he came back and was hard on these kids because he didn't want them to get hurt when they went to the Sakai Taikai, and he wanted to spare them the pain of him blowing his shot from his bad behavior and inability to control his emotions and everything. And so he seemed like he was, harsh with them like a drill sergeant, but it was really because he wanted to take care of them in
Right.
his way.
Right. 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 Wanted to show them a better way, give them a better path, give them a choice of a
Yeah.
better way of doing things. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of motivation, didn't you? I know I wouldn't say pastor, but like Deacon Sharp. Like I know you played that over like 25 years. Like how did that
Yeah.
shape you in a way? Like how did that like character shape you? And being able to play Deacon Sharp.
Playing Deacon Sharp has been one of the greatest experiences in my career. I absolutely love working on Bold and the Beautiful. I have such an opportunity to kind of put my own spin on the character. Love the people I work with. And, I've seen Deacon has evolved as a better person, I think, as Sean has evolved as a better person. We would always, the actors, we'd always say, how the hell do the writers and the producers seem to know what's going on in our private life? And somehow it makes its way into the scripts. And, I got sober years ago, and, my character
Congratulations.
suddenly became, thank you, my character suddenly became a much better guy, much wiser and more grounded and family oriented and all that. And I was like, those guys, man, I tell you, they must have our rooms bugged or something.
Well, I was going to say that. I'm not this conspiracy theorist guy and all of that. But I will say, if we got you this role and we know we depend on you to do this, and we
Oh
getting
yeah,
ready to put up a lot of paper, there's some things about you that we might want to know.
sure,
You know what I'm
sure,
saying? And even if
yeah,
it took a little bit of investigating you in some
yeah,
shape, form, or fashion,
yeah,
we
yeah.
need to make that happen
Yeah, and I
because
mean, look, they're really good to us, but we are also, you know, assets to a business and to the show, and we have a
right.
responsibility to, live our lives in a way that is, not endangering the value of the asset that we are to the show. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think anybody
Mm-hmm.
who has a job, that's true.
Right.
You're not going to last real long, whether you're a secretary or an accountant or a major league baseball player, if
Mm-hmm.
you're acting like a lunatic and not respecting the job you've been given.
That's right.
And there were definitely times when I acted like a lunatic in my
Yeah,
younger days.
I can see that. I absolutely can see in your younger days,
Oh man, I
especially
was I was hell on wheels.
right, especially with the success that you had early, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So that plays a part. I'm sure that played
sure, sure.
a huge part in just your overall thinking every day, especially you're this young person and
Yeah,
you're on this big screen
Yep.
and everybody knows you and
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and and for some reason I don't know, I might be off topic bringing this up. I remember a kick to the chin, or something. All of it comes in my head
A
when I'm
kick to the
watching some of
chin.
your.
He's
Yeah,
talking about the Karate Kid movie.
yeah,
Oh,
one of them.
um,
Kid.
you know,
Yeah,
I mean, I was this young kid who had moved out to Los Angeles. I was living right above the Whiskey A Go Go on Sunset. I was single, had a couple bucks in my pocket. Man, you do the math. You know, I mean, and listen,
absolutely.
I had a lot of fun. I made a lot of mistakes. I
Right.
don't tend to look at mistakes as failures. I look at them as teachers.
Yes.
And it all brought me to the place where I am now. And man, I'm in a great place. I really am.
Great.
And so,
Listen,
Absolutely.
you, Matthew McConaughey, Billy Zane,
all
y'all
right,
are
all
like
right, all
equal
right,
precious
all right.
on a
Yeah.
TV screen, you know.
But you gotta, I used to always say, I don't know if I really meant it, but I used to always say, I feel badly for the guy that comes out to Los Angeles to be an actor and has a monster success right out of the box, because I think that, the struggle, the rejection, it
Mhm.
just helps you appreciate it more. Um, and nobody's career goes in a straight upward trajectory. You're going to have
Right.
your trials and tribulations. And if you've never experienced setbacks, it could conceivably completely derail you, because you're like, wait, what
Mhm.
the hell's happening? I am only used to things going my way. And when they don't, you don't really have anything emotionally to fall back on. And I had a lot of things not go my way, most of which were my own fault.
Right.
But as I've gotten older now, I've really learned how, when something doesn't go my way, just to, generally speaking, look at it like it wasn't meant to be. Maybe the
Yeah.
universe was, or God was doing me a favor, and not get attached to the outcome. Stay in the process, not get attached to the results.
And I
Yeah.
know, speaking of different things too, because I know there's a lot of actors out here that, that are new, that's out here acting. And they go to these different auditions and they show up late. Like how, like what, like do they get sent home, or do like how does, like, I
I,
know
I,
you've probably seen that before.
yeah, I come from the East Coast. I mean, my motto is, if you're not 10 minutes early, you're late, and I don't know. I mean, how you conduct yourself when you're not working is a pretty good indicator of how you're going to conduct yourself when you are working.
Absolutely.
I think.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Absolutely. Because it's the
I,
decorum, it's the professionalism that you have to have within yourself,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
That's going to take you further than the next man.
yeah.
So like you, Sean, I too am from the East Coast, and
Who I
I
see.
hear, yeah, and I hear it all the time with people. They feel like I'm not scared of nothing, and this big. They think I'm this big bravado guy. No, what they don't
No,
understand is yes, I've seen a lot of things, and I also know that if you don't take a shot at it, then you automatically fail. Like
absolutely.
like like
Absolutely.
like how can you make the winning shot if you never take a shot? Like
Michael Jordan, I mean, he's got this great quote about that. He's like, I missed X amount of free throws. I
right,
missed X amount of game winning shots.
right,
And all these failures are what's made him a success. And I
absolutely.
believe I believe that. That
Um,
Malcolm Gladwell talks about that, having 10,000 hours,
yeah,
in any profession.
hmm,
And you're not going to have 10,000 hours of everything going your way. It's how you deal with the moments that aren't going your way that crystallizes your spirit to make you, flexible yet hard, so that you can deal with things, because life will continually throw curveballs and high and tight fastballs at you.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's
absolutely.
that's that's part of fortifying your core. That's the
Yes,
way
sir.
that I look at it. You know what I'm
Yes, sir.
saying?
You're spot on.
Question: producer or writer? Which one you enjoy the most?
It's so funny you say that, because I just got done producing a film with my wife. We wrote it, and we co-produced it, and she directed it,
Okay.
and it's going to be terrific. It's called Body Man, and now I'm writing another script for me, and I haven't been involved in writing a script for probably 2 or 3 months, because
Mm-hmm.
I've been producing, and I love producing. I love taking an idea and going out and raising the money and watching this little baby grow up into this big strong thing.
Right.
Um, I do like writing, um, but I don't write in a monastic way. And by that, I mean, I don't discipline myself every day. I'm writing for 4 hours no matter what. I get spurts of,
Mm.
um, um, oh my God, I got to write right now. And then I'll just do it as long as I can.
Right.
But I think that, acting, writing, producing, each of them satisfies something different in my spirit that I like. I think the producing comes from, you know, unless you're Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt, you're just like another dude out there looking for a job. Do you know what I mean? Yes,
Right.
it's at different levels, but do you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And I got really tired of waiting for someone else to hire me, which is why I created Studio City and, won that beautiful lady. I created a
Yeah.
series because no one else would
Yeah.
give it to me. you know
Absolutely.
and so
Absolutely.
I was
City
like,
earned you a Grammy.
I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna raise money for the projects I want to raise, and if no one else is going to stick me in as a leading man in a film, I'm going to stick me in as a leading man in a film. And it's been working out pretty well. And we are going to have this film completely done and locked, and our first screening is going to be December 19th, and I can't wait for people to see this film. It is really, really terrific.
Where's that going to be at?
Well, we are entertaining distribution deals right now. We just got back from AFM, which is the American Film Market.
Okay.
And once we have the film absolutely completed, we are going to finalize who we're going to sign with for a distribution deal. My assumption is that it's going to wind up being on all the major streaming platforms.
Okay.
And it'll be very easy to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't
Any
wait.
special appearances? Who can we get a sneak of who's going to be in it?
Yeah. Let's see who's in it. Emilio Rivera from Mayans is in it. One of the greatest things is I love hiring friends of mine. And the guy who's a buddy of mine, you guys might know him. You guys know who Stoney Jackson is? Remember Stoney? He was in the Beat It video and all that with Michael Jackson. We've been friends for years. I called him up and I go, I got a part for you. You're gonna play like the Reverend Al Sharpton in this thing. And he was fantastic. Who else is in it? An actor named Jonathan Sheck, who's the lead on a show called Blue Ridge. David Chokachi is a terrific actor. We got a Tom Arnold is in it.
Okay.
Martin Cove is in it.
Okay.
So we got some really terrific actors, and it looks great. Can't wait for people to see it.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
what it, no doubt.
You
So
got
let's
a
talk
book, right? Book? You and
My
your wife,
books?
right? Or you got a book?
I've written 5
Relationship,
books.
right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. What do you want to know?
Well, I know that you've been, you say you've been married for 30 years. You have a
No, 13.
13. Oh, okay. I thought you said 30. Okay.
She's trying to double you up, Sean, over there.
Right, or triple me up almost.
Right.
Yeah. My wife, the last book that I wrote, I co-authored with my wife Michelle. It's called Cobra Couples. I'm looking for a copy of it. It's got to be around here. There's one over there. And it's a relationship book, and it's for people that are tired of wasting time and want to find the right partner, or people that are in a relationship and they want to turbocharge it. And it was a pretty amazing experience writing it with her. The book gives you a male perspective and a female perspective. We don't always agree, but I think it's incredibly informative and it's fun to read. It's available on Amazon. For those people that don't know, COBRA is an acronym. It's formed from the words character, optimization, balance, respect, and abundance. So we took all the philosophies and strategies that were in my book, Way of the Cobra, and the sequel, which I just have here, called Welcome to the Kumite. And we said, let's apply those to relationships. And there was this study done. They asked all these really super successful people. They said, what do you attribute as the biggest factor in your success? And so if I were to ask you that, you might say, well, generational wealth. If you're born into money, that's a huge force multiplier. True, right?
Right.
But then you think about the third generation curse, which means the first generation makes it, the second generation spends it, and then the third generation has lost it. So that's not always it. Maybe you say it's, having an Ivy League education. That's what makes these guys so. But then you look at people like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, and some of these guys that didn't, have Ivy League educations. Maybe it's getting up at 4 a.m. and just grinding and hustling. Well, if that's true, then every guy that was a janitor who busts his ass would be a captain of industry. The single biggest thing that these super successful people attributed to their success, it's their choice of partner. And I say the right one will make you, the wrong one will break you.
There it is.
I
So if y'all want to stop playing games out here, okay, and y'all want a real relationship, y'all need to.
I absolutely can agree with that.
Seriously.
I mean, because we all because you always go through these different partners in life and these different things in life, and if you can kind of look back, you sometimes can find reasons why some things did not happen when you kind of put your all in particular situations.
You know, so, I mean, if you're trying to find somebody out there and you can't find them, I suggest that you stop looking externally, saying, "Oh, you know, this person had this problem." You look at yourself. You fix yourself, and you make yourself the very best version of yourself, and you will attract the person that you want. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I always say, if would you like yourself? Would you date yourself? You know what I'm saying? Would you like you?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I would now. I wouldn't.
Right.
You know,
years ago, that's a different story.
But now I was very much a work in progress. And thank God my wife is a saint and she put up with me.
No, Tom, like you said, you are what you attract. And I feel like, you know, some people that, oh yeah, I want somebody with money. Okay, well, you're just gonna get somebody with money. You're not gonna get the other qualities because you're saying this is what you want.
You gotta break it down even more. You go, why do you want someone with money? Is it because you don't want to earn it yourself? Is it because you feel like you're living in scarcity and not abundance? You don't think God's abundant with you? And it's the law of vibration. You know, the universe matches our vibration. And if you're walking around going, I never have any money, all the universe hears is, oh, you're living in scarcity. You want more of it. But when you wake up, you know, for me, every single day, without fail, first thing I do is I get on my knees and I thank God for 5 things. And it puts me in a state of abundance. No matter what happens, I'm taken care of. And when I live my life in abundance, let me tell you something. Money and things come to me without me worrying about it. Sure, I got to do the work, right? But all those things, you know, all those fancy toys and stuff that I used to want when I was younger, I have a lot of them, but they're not that important to me. I see them for what they are. What's important are the number of people that I can help achieve their goals, the connections that I can make authentically with other people. That's the stuff that and the relationships I have with the people I love. Those and my health. Those are the most important things to me.
Absolutely.
And look, I'm not running for Miss America. You know, I'm not trying to like give you like some, you know, look at me, what a great person I am. But I shifted my thinking. And when I shifted my thinking, it was like the clouds parted. I mean, a lot of it was when I got sober, but it was like all this stuff that seemed so difficult for me to achieve that I couldn't figure out why I'm not getting the acting roles and why I'm not getting mine and blah, 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 blah. As soon as I got rid of all that crap, it started pouring on me.
Well, that's just like what Wayne Dyer says. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. Like, I already know. And I tend to wake up at like 3:33 a.m. like almost every morning. So I know that tells me the time that I need to get, you know, I get in my meditation mode, all of that stuff. I do my
morning routine.
Everything.
You gotta have a morning routine that sets the day. Yep.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. I want to talk a little bit about your anti-bullying efforts.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's how to Boo to bullying.
Buddha Bullying. Well, Buddha Bullying is an organization that I've been involved with for a long time. I also go out and just on my own speak pretty extensively about bullying. You know, I was bullied a lot when I was a kid. It's incredibly damaging. You know, I talk to parents too, and I say, how many of you were bullied? And they raise their hand. And I say, how many of you still carry the scars from when you were bullied as a little kid? I said, they affect you as an adult. I go, what if you could help your kids avoid having to go through that? And, you know, it's something I'm just really dedicated to being a part of the solution. Teenage suicide is the third leading cause of death in adolescence, and bullying is a huge contributing factor. And so I go to schools. I just got back from my hometown. I went to 5 different schools and I facilitate a dialogue with the kids. And it's, you know, bullying's like a triangle. You got the kids bullying, the kids getting bullied, and the kids observing it. And it's damaging to all of them. Right. And I got them, you know, I get them out there to start talking about it. And it's amazing how it has a really life-changing effect for them. And I told them, I said, you know, all you kids going through stuff right now, you know, maybe your body looks weird and, you know, you're getting you're all going through it together. I guarantee if I wanted to sit and pick on each one of you, I'd find something about each of you. You're all going through it together because that's your age. So instead of looking at each other like you're all different, why don't you look at each other like we're all going through this crazy time together? And, you know,
Right.
don't look for the differences. Look for how you can be kind. Look for
Right.
how you can be
Absolutely.
supportive. And I said, because if you behave like that as an adult, like in a workplace, you're gonna get fired, and you might even get sued. And you might go to like you can't act
Well,
like this when you're an adult.
Right, and that was a great way of putting a spin on that. I mean, and that's no spin. That's a great way of kind of expressing that to kids about letting them know that you're all going through this together. Like, you know, and a lot of them don't look at it that way. You know, a lot of them kind of separate themselves from thinking like that. You know, and then there's also guys, you know, who don't allow or try not to allow other folks to be bullied, right? So if you see something that's not correct or someone is being bullied, you shouldn't be afraid to step in. You shouldn't be afraid to kind of
And I tell I tell kids, I go, look, you don't always gotta stand tall, but you got to stand up. And I said, don't be a part of the problem. I said, if you're there watching someone get bullied and you're laughing and you're cheering them on and you're filming it, you're part of the problem and you're bullying. I said, you're creating an atmosphere that makes it okay for that bully to thrive. And if you turn off the oxygen just like a flame, bullies like the attention. And if they're not getting it, chances are they're going to go somewhere else.
And you know, it's so different now. And it's just speaking of that, you like, even with the phone stuff, it's like they film so much stuff and just put it out online and just, it's like,
and
then
funny, the girls are
sharing it.
The girls are bad too.
Yeah.
It's like, just be kind, you know, seek to be kind and the world will open up to you.
Absolutely.
Yes. And if you see someone getting beat up on social media on a video, report it. Like, don't share it. Don't send it to people's inbox so they can watch it.
I agree.
I don't like that. I just
don't be part of the problem, right?
Right. Yeah. But that's because you're a good person. Your thought process is different from a lot of those that do that.
Well, we got to try and change the thought process. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
We have to.
Right.
Because these are the kids that are going to run our society someday when we're all old. And if we have a younger generation of people that have been desensitized and that don't have empathy and compassion, we're going to live in a very, very dangerous place.
Absolutely. 100%. I agree with that. Hey, Charles, man, it was beautiful that you came out. You spent time with us, man. You know,
absolutely. I hope we can do this again, you guys. I feel like I made 2 new friends.
Yes, you did.
Are you guys in Phoenix or Scottsdale, or where are you?
So we're in like the East Valley, right? So we're kind of like in the Mesa Chandler area, right?
Okay.
All right. Right
now we're all over.
So right now we're in studio. So we do have our studio in Mesa on Stapley and
you guys might get a call from me. I'm gonna say, I'm out here. Let's go meet for lunch.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Absolutely.
Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. I want to wish you both just, continued success. All the best. I love what you're doing. And I want to thank you for letting me be a part of it. And I want to thank your audience for watching.
Thank you. We appreciate you. And we definitely got to get him in the magazine too.
Yeah, we know.
The National Public Magazine.
So for anything that you want to say, anything that you might want people to be a part of, Sean, now's the time to say that.
I tell you what, look, you can always watch
all your social handles.
Watch me on Bold and Beautiful, Monday through Friday, CBS. I'm on Instagram at Sean Kanan. But you know what I would really love? I would love if everybody took just a few minutes and watched my TEDx. Just Google Sean Kanan and TEDx. And if you like it and if it resonates with you, pass it on to someone else that you care about. I think you'll dig it. All right. All right, guys. Take care. All the best.
Thank you.
Take care. Enjoy, Sean. Yep.